Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all of you, and a warm welcome from APAACI. I'm Ruby Pavankar, the president of APAACI. Today we have one of the most important programs of APAACI, the flagship program called Motivational Conversations with Global Leaders. And we have none other than Professor Yoo-Young Kim, a name that is so well known across the globe, from Seoul, Korea. Professor Yoo-Young Kim does not need introduction, but to do justice, I would briefly introduce him. Professor Yoo-Young Kim is a Professor Emeritus of the Seoul National University and the Honorary President of the Korean Allergy Asthma Foundation. He is also the past president of the Korean Academy of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, and he has also served as the president of APAACI in 2 terms. Professor Yoo-Young Kim has been a leader, not just in Korea, but in the Asia-Pacific region, bringing up many young fellows across that are now leaders in their own capacity. So with great pride and honor, I would like to invite Professor Yoo-Young Kim to this motivational conversation. Welcome, Professor Yoo-Young Kim.
Thank you very much, Ruby, for your very kind introduction. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I will start with some of the questions that are very important for our APAACI community. So Professor Yoo-Young Kim, what are your insights of being mentored by some of the best mentors in allergy, immunology, and respiratory medicine?
I believe medicine is science, but also art. When I was in college, I had the privilege of learning from Professor Kim, who was then the first chairman, Department of Internal Medicine at Seoul National University College of Medicine. As I observed his search for finding an answer as a scientist, I learned the meaning that medicine is a science. In my residency years, it was Professor Han, who was then the chairman, Department of Internal Medicine, as well as a presidential physician. He taught me that medicine is art with his refined and sophisticated skills when treating patients.
Oh, that's wonderful, Professor Kim. So what about
I continue. After residency, it was Professor Kang who had the most influential impact on me when I was deciding the subspecialty. Professor Kang was a pioneer as he introduced and laid the foundation of allergology in Korea. At that time, few residents applied for allergology because it was new and unfamiliar. But this new field of study challenged me. And then my research into allergology began in earnest at Southampton University in UK as a postdoctoral research fellow under the supervision of Professors Stephen Holgate and Martin Church. This slide shows Professor Kang in the right in 1988 at the time of the Second West Pacific Allergy Symposium and the Fourth Japanese-Korean Joint Allergy Symposium in Tokyo. And this slide shows the Stephen Holgate in the left and Martin Church in the right. Middle is me. At the 60th birthday celebrating conference for Dr. Stephen Holgate with Martin Church and me in Southampton in 2007. Those wonderful and outstanding professors inspired me and gave motivation in medical science. They also mentored me in clinical practice and research of allergology, I give my heartfelt respect and appreciation for the exceptional professors. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. So, Professor Yuan Kim, that was wonderful. You have been mentored by some of the top people in Korea and globally. So I'd like to ask you your second input. Is in your work across two continents, that is in UK, that is Europe, and in Asia, can you explain what are the challenges and what are the advantages of clinical practice and research in allergy and clinical immunology in Asia as compared to UK?
What impressed me the most at Southampton University when I was there in early 1980s was collaborative work between Dr. Stephen Holgate, who is MD at the Department of Medicine 1, and Dr. Martin Church, who is the PhD at the Department of Clinical Pharmacology. They jointly ran an immunopharmacology lab to study disease pathogenesis through laboratory research using human cells, which is a surgical specimen, and to cultivate treatment method. I had the privilege of sharing the same room with Steve and Martin, which allowed me to have access to new ways in multidisciplinary collaborative study. And I still have a good friendship with them. What I think is that at present, the gap between Asia Pacific and the US or UK has substantially narrowed in terms of clinical practice and research methodology. To be sure, as we have experienced during the recent pandemic, the importance of biotechnology cannot be emphasized too much. Thus, it is essential to recruit and support competent young scholars, expand the size of academic research funds, and be equipped with suitable facilities that carry out sophisticated research works. I'm certain that Asia Pacific region has a great potential and capability to that end. What is the next question?
Wonderful. Wonderful, Professor Yuan Kim. So, Professor Yuan Kim, my next question to you is, as a clinician scientist, you have led a big research group in Korea. How do you think research can be embedded in clinical allergy practice in Asia?
Doing research as a clinician, there are both advantages and disadvantages. In terms of disadvantage, a clinician is unable to concentrate only on research because he has to invest most of his time on seeing patients. But there are also advantages. He can set up a hypothesis based on idea collected while treating patients and scientifically verify whether his hypothesis is right. He can also implement research using clinical materials. The problem lies in manpower. I think this problem can be overcome through collaborative work, as we can work with PhD researchers within the same institute or with other researchers from different institutions at home and abroad. That's it.
I think this is such an important thing you have told me, because Professor Tomio Tada, who was one of my mentors, would always tell me, your patient is your best teacher, because you learn from your patients and you develop the hypothesis from the
That's right.
patient,
That's
and you
right.
ask the question and you research about it. You have presented it so beautifully. Thank you very much. I think this is very motivational for our younger generation.
That's right.
So the next question to you, Professor Kim, is APAACI has conducted many new initiatives in these years. Educational activities, awareness programs on COVID-19, junior members forum like JAFCA, many surveys on clinical diseases, and many publications. We also published a white paper on the impact of climate change and air pollution on allergic airways diseases in Asia Pacific. And we are in the process of developing a declaration and additional papers in this space. We recently had an APAACI Allergy Week 2022 on climate change this year in collaboration with the United Nations Environmental Program, with the regional director, parliamentarians, and the president of Air Quality Asia also speaking, along with global leaders and regional leaders. So we engage all the global and regional leaders in these kind of initiatives. And the topic was held in line with the World Health Day, which talks about One Earth and One Health. So what do you think are the greatest imprints that we have as APAACI achieved with specific relevance to the region in Asia Pacific?
The Asia Pacific is an unique region in that it holds the most diverse ethnic groups and shows the most dynamic living. APAACI has significance as an academic society in the region, as it encompasses this grand region under the banner of allergy, asthma, immunology. They have different culture, different economic size, and different patterns of diseases. I believe this is why APAACI stands out in this circumstance of diversity, as it sets the common scientific theme, shares the latest opinions about the theme, and improves mutual friendship. Recently, even amid the ongoing pandemic, under the leadership of President Ruby Pawanka, APAACI seems to have drawn its members' attention regarding hot timely issues, including the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and air pollution, by holding virtual conferences, implementing surveys, and publishing papers. In particular, what impressed me most was JAFCA, which is a leadership program for junior members of APAACI. I believe the JAFCA will open a door for our young doctors so that they find their role and contribute to the further growth of APAACI. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Yuen Kim. That was very, very inspiring and motivational for us as APAACI, and very motivational for our young JAFCA members too. Thank you so much.
The youngest is very important. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Professor Kim, thank you very much for your excellent inspirational comments and inputs up to now. I would like to move forward with the next question. You have made huge contributions to the growth of the next generation of academic colleagues in Korea and Asia. What are the most important highlights for you and the most rewarding experience while trying to bring up the next generation?
In 1972, Korean Society of Allergology, which has changed its name to Korean Association of Asthma, Allergy, and Clinical Immunology, APAACI, was founded. And in 1980, we launched Allergy, which is the Korean version academic journal. In 2009, we published the first issue of AIR, Allergy, Asthma, Immunology Research, which is an academic journal in English. And in 2011, only 2 years after the first issue, AIR was registered as SCI journal impact factor of 1.9. AIR has continuously advanced to impact factor of 2.9 in 2016 and to 5.7 in 2020. Meanwhile, the number of SCI papers for which the first issue was published in 1985 has increased significantly, 21 in 1995, 166 in 2005, and nearly 1,200 in 2021. I believe I have contributed to advancement of APAACI to some extent. I believe that I was privileged and lucky to contribute to founding and advancing international associations and conferences on asthma, allergy, and clinical immunology in Asia-Pacific region. The first Korea-Japan Joint Allergy Symposium was held in 1983, and the first West Pacific Allergy Symposium was held in 1986. Those symposiums have advanced to APAACI, and its first conference was held in 1992. You can see here the program book of the first West Pacific Allergy Symposium in 1985, which was held in conjunction with the third Korea-Japan Joint Allergy Symposium in Korea. And this photo showed the first Asia Pacific Congress of Allergology and Immunology in Thailand in 1992. This slide showed the 17th WOW Congress in conjunction with the first APAACI and the 6th West Pacific Allergy Symposium in Sydney in 2000. I was there. It's me. Globally, I was the president of International Association of Asthmology, INTASMA, in 2010 to 2012. And I had the privilege to organize the 29th Symposium of Collegium Internationale Allergologicum, CIA, successfully in Jeju Island in 2012. In 2007, I received the Outstanding Clinician Award from World Allergy Organization. Wow. You can see here the 20th World Allergy Congress in conjunction with 7th Asia Pacific Congress of Allergy, Asthma, and Clinical Immunology, and the 10th West Pacific Allergy Symposium in Bangkok in 2007. When I was received the WOW Outstanding Clinician Award. This slide showed the INTASMA World Congress, which was held in Quebec in 2012. From the left, Dr. Bulle, who was organizer, and me, and Dr. Carlos Cagnani, who was the president-elect. Now he passed away, sorry. And this slide showed the CIA Congress, which was held in Jeju in 2012. From the left, Dr. Johannes Ling, historian, and me, and Stephen Holgate, president-elect, Dr. Gianni Marone, past president, and Dr. Stephen Galli, president. I was the organizer of the CIA meeting. This slide, the group photo, which was taken in 29 CIA in 2012. In the middle, you can see Dr. Ruby Pawanka, who is now president of APAACI. I think at that time, Ruby was the president of WOW.
Yes, correct. Yes, absolutely correct. Yes, I was the president of WOW, and yes, and also there are a lot of memories. When you were presenting in Sydney, that was the year I joined WOW. I was elected as board member in Sydney. Yeah. And in 2007, when you got the clinician award, I was in the committee that decided the awards committee, and I became treasurer in Bangkok.
Oh, yes. Now you are the council member of CIA now.
Yes, yes. Now I am the council member of CIA. Yes. So we have a lot of things in common, and it was very, very nice. Okay, thank you so much, Professor Kim. I mean, it's not only just a beautiful experience that everybody will learn from, but it's also very nostalgic. So what is your advice to the young generation of Apache as they pursue, especially the JAFCA members? They are all so energetic and they are just bursting with the energy to do things. But what is your advice to them as they pursue research and clinical practice?
With regard to academic achievement, I have three advice for the young generation. First, try to come up with creative ideas because it overpowers every other value. Second, do not blindly accept the existing hypotheses, but often deny them. Not all hypotheses are correct. Third, try to outperform your teachers academically. Only those who surpass are true followers. I have a prediction for young generations in medical and the scientific field. I believe an era of a new paradigm will arrive with regard to pathophysiology and the pathogenesis of human diseases. Recently, it has been reported that human microbiome, especially intestinal bacteria, has crucial impact on human health and diseases. In particular, microbe-derived extracellular vesicles have only recently been recognized as important molecules in the pathogenesis of a number of human diseases. Extracellular vesicle is a critical mediator of cell-to-cell communication, and there are rising evidences that microbe-derived extracellular vesicles are essential for microbe-host communication, as they can modulate the expression of host genes. Therefore, you may pay attention to the interaction between human cell and the human microbiome to understand a new paradigm of disease pathogenesis and the new treatment modality related to microbial extracellular vesicles. Now, I think it's time to close the interview. good luck. I will keep my fingers crossed for all of you, the young members of APAACI. Thank you for the good conversation, Ruby. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Yu Young Kim, because you made this interview so natural and so important, and giving us relevant input, historical background, good advice, not just to the young generation, but also to me. It's been very motivational, truly, and I have derived so much energy through this interview from you. And I'm sure all the younger generation who get to see this will be so inspired by what you have to say. And even this last part that you have mentioned about the human microbiome is so important. It's really where the answer lies in the future for both wellness as well as for disease. So thank you very much, Professor Yu Young Kim. It was a great pleasure to have you. APAACI's community is deeply indebted to you for all what you have done for the specialty of allergy, asthma, and clinical immunology in the region and globally. It is our honor to have you.
Thank you very much, Ruby. I enjoyed very much for the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.